Hey guys, welcome back. I know, I know. It's been a minute, hasn't it? What can I say? I've been a busy boy. I haven't done a video since November, but I've got a whole bunch of them stacked up. I just need to finish and get out. But today, I want to show you guys the Atlas and the Marksman. They are some really good tools for doing precision layout. So like if you're doing like anchor bolt layout or something like that, man, both these tools are hard to beat. So buddy of mine loaned me this. He had one of these, and he said I could use it, do the video with, because I was really kind of curious. I was wanting to compare the Marksman to the Atlas and see, not necessarily which one was better, just which one fit better, depending on what you're doing. So this one's pretty cool. It's got a little laser light. I don't know. Can you see it? Got a little laser light in it. The to me, this is a really cool setup. It's got some limitations that, and if it were me, there's probably a few things I would change. But overall, it's a really nice piece of equipment. I suspect there will be modifications in the future. So yeah, we're going to look at this one, and then we're going to look at the Atlas. So the Atlas is really cool. It also has a laser on it. This has got a crosshair laser in it. This crosshair laser is pretty sweet. I also like the fact that the laser tube itself moves, as well as so does this up here. That's really slick. This one articulates. It moves around. This slides around, moves back and forth. I'll show you guys all that, and we're going to take it out in the shop. I'm going to show you guys how all this stuff works. So I've got to send this back to my buddy. He's got a project coming up, and he needs it. This one's a little unique. I wish this pivoted, this turned or spun, but it doesn't. It's all kind of, once you screw it down, it's fixed. It's going to be interesting to see how accurate it is with it being fixed like that. If they machined it, how well they machined it, because I know like a two-piece pole, when you put a two-piece pole together, they're not machined very well. Sometimes they are actually off. So hopefully this one is a little bit better. We're going to find out. It's kind of a cool little setup, but yeah. So let's go out in the shop and let's get set up so I can show you guys how this stuff works. So just FYI, I'm still working on a website. I've got a website company that's fixing to redesign the whole thing. So if you guys haven't seen the website yet, it's surveyingwithrobert.com. Go check it out. As soon as we get kind of rolling on this website, I'm going to start posting a bunch more videos. I got a bunch of them stacked up. I need to get on that. But I'm going to post videos on the website, and I'm going to post videos on YouTube. So and on that platform, you should be able to get to both of them. So anyways, we're going to see how well this works out. It's going to be kind of expensive for me to do, but I think it'll be well worth it at the end of the day. So anyways, let's head out in the shop. What do you say? Let's go out there and let's take these things out and see what we come up with. So I thought we'd come out here to the shop and I would show you guys the difference between these two, the Marksman and the Atlas. I think, like I said, I think both of these are really good pieces of equipment, and I think both of them have their place, like so many other things that we use. These are just different tools depending on what you do. If I'm doing standard layout on anchor bolts, this will work just fine. Then again, so would a mini prism, right? The thing that I like about these tools is that if you're using like a mini prism or something, which I don't happen to have one on me, you've got to hold it and look at the data collector. So if you're trying to hold it and look at the data collector, so you're trying to hold this level and look at the data collector, I can see where that could be a problem. Now, I've laid out a lot of anchor bolts with a peanut prism over the years. I can promise you that. But I can tell you that, usually I had to lay the data collector down, or I had somebody communicating with me to tell me what to do while I could focus on this bubble. So having these stand alone with a prism on them, prism there or prism there, is, in my opinion, pretty handy, okay? So let's look at the differences in them because I'm really impressed with both of them. This one is very simplistic. So there's not a whole lot of moving parts and things to go wrong. So that is really nice. This one is extremely complicated, but it's for complicated jobs. This one is for more simplistic jobs is the way I feel about it. There's somewhere between $1,000 difference in price. I think that I'm wanting to say the Marksman is around $3,000 and I'm wanting to say the Atlas is around $4,000. Now don't quote me on that. I haven't looked at the prices, just kind of what I'm hearing. So let's look at some of the differences. So some of the things right off the bat that I like is that if I stick a prism on here, let's say I put this prism on. Now, the thread stopped right there. That's nice. See, everything's tightened down. It's pointed in the right place. Here's a little switch right here. Turn the laser on. It's got a little green dot right there. Sweet, okay? It's got a handle right here that I can adjust up, that I can pick it up and carry it with. Also extremely handy. It's got this big bubble here on the back, which I'm kind of 50-50 on that one. That's a massive bubble. I think that this could have been a smaller, more precise bubble, but I'm this close to the ground. I really don't think it's going to make that much difference in what I'm doing. I'm just used to a smaller type level, like our level vial, like you're going to see that he's got on the Atlas. So, so this is kind of nice because I got these big knobs and stuff. Some of the things I'm not super crazy about, you really need to lock these down, in my opinion. Otherwise, it's got a lot of wobble to it. There again, though, you know, you're trying to split frogs' hairs. This one, to me, is a great tool. It's just not as precise. One of the problems that I have with this that I think could be very easily fixed, and that's this prism, because this needs to be on a swivel. I'm unscrewing it when I'm doing that. I don't really care too much for that idea, but you can turn the prism around by unscrewing it, okay? So, not a fan, but hey, it works. It's lightweight, it's easy to carry. It's got these big knobs on it so you can adjust the level vial, which works really good. It's a nice tool, a very nice tool. If I was just doing typical layout, I mean, as you can see, I can pick it up, I can tote it around, I can do whatever. It's got big feet on it. One of the things I'm not crazy about with this one is it doesn't have much reach. This should have been just a little bit farther out, in my opinion, so you got a little bit more reach over things. And I've got a little test we're going to do here in a little bit, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just not having that reach can be an issue. Okay, so that's my pros and cons to this one. The Marksman, there again, very nice tool. Any surveyor that goes out and takes and implements his, I'm gonna call it his dream, and takes it from paper to product, you definitely have my vote. Because any surveyor that can take it from paper to product, hats off to you. You guys that do that are amazing. The survey iPod, James Reveal, you know, this came out of a necessity for something that he was doing. That is a exceptional piece of equipment to use on, you know, all kinds of things. You could throw a GPS unit on it if you wanted to. You can bolt it down on concrete or rock or whatever. So that's a great tool. I should have my vest on, my Party Chief vest. So Matthew's got those Party Chief vests, and those things are phenomenal. I love them. The attention to detail that you surveyors put into this stuff is quite amazing, I gotta say. So let's look at the Atlas. I go back to the same thing. This thing is complicated, but it's for complicated projects. So since I just was talking about this, let me show you. This one goes on here. And the way he's got this set up, I really like this. See how it swivels? That I like. I'm not unscrewing it. So I really like that. One of the other things that I really like is his articulates. See that? So you can put it on something. That's the reason I have the brick sitting here. I'm going to show you guys here in a second. I can put it on something. So that's got a dot for a laser. This has a crosshair for a laser, which I really like. The dots, like on some of the total stations, have got the laser plummet. I don't care too much for those because a dot, for some reason, when it hits, I just feel like it splashes, and I really can't see the center of what I'm looking at. Have you ever looked at that dot coming out of a total station on a stake tack? Oh my God, it lights up the whole hub. So I'm just not crazy about it. But also, this whole thing twists as well. And everything is pretty precise, pretty centered. We'll look at some of that here in a minute. So you get this thing where you want it. And then also, like I was talking about reach a while ago, if you unscrew this, I can push that in. Turn it sideways here so you can see. I can pull it in and push it out. That's nice. And I can do that from just about anywhere, right? So I can turn it left and right. I can pivot it, whatever I need to do. So, if I need to get on that point and it's actually over there, but I can only get stable right here, look at that, how that turns. Like I said, this one is definitely more complicated, absolutely more complicated. Is there more possibility of things going wrong? Probably. But I know the guy from Atlas, and if there was a problem, he'd fix it for you. But this thing's machined pretty tight, man. I mean, the tolerances and stuff he's went through has been kind of amazing. But one of the other things I think is cool is here on the side, he has a USB or a USB-C charger that plugs in right there, so I can recharge that battery. That's nice. This one, I don't know that I really even looked at this one that close. I think you have to take that set screw loose right there to change the batteries out. And I think it's just regular AA batteries. So, things I wonder about, see how I'm screwing this in here? And I wonder how that alignment is on there. So the higher I go, how far am I going to be off? I'm sure it was done with some serious precision. So it'll be interesting to see what we come up with. But yeah, so, back to getting level with this thing. I mean, if I set this on here and I'm trying to get, over a point somewhere, depending on where I'm at, I just take and adjust it out. I need a camera on this level bubble so you guys can see. I guess you're just going to have to trust me when I tell you that I've got it in there. Let's see. It needs to go back this way. Yeah, so there it is. I'm in there. So if I had to set a point right there, I could, off of something, an uneven surface. When you're dealing with, usually on a construction site, and you're doing like anchor bolt layout and stuff like that, you really don't get into, unless it's like spillage of concrete or something like that. You might get into something that way, but typically you're not going to get into anything too crazy at level. But there again, all I got to do is hit that, and I'm back level again. Now with this one, as you can see, I'm going to crank for days in order to get this up here. And I could probably, probably put one down and one up. But you can see, it's going to take me a while. Yeah, I'm going to have to raise these up. You guys get the idea, right? I don't have to sit here and crank on these things all day to show you guys, but you can get it up and get it level on an uneven surface. It's just a little bit more difficult. And I go back to the same thing. Both of these are great tools. It's just depends on what you're using them for, right? What are you trying to lay out? If you're on uneven surfaces and stuff, can you do it? Yes. I might be pulling out the peanut prism at this point, because Because I can promise you, no matter if I had both of these or not, I'd still have one in my back pocket. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, wrong way. See what I mean about if you don't tighten those down, how it moves around a little bit? There it is, this level. So, if I was up close to this point, that's about how long it would take me. As you can see with this one, it was a lot faster. More complicated, more simplified. Which one's better? If you're doing layout, this one is heavier. I don't know what they weigh, but this is going to be a prism one. This is pretty chunky. It's got a solid. But the other thing I really like about this one, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, the feet are magnetic on it. So that's really good if you're doing something on, which I'll show you here in a minute, like rebar or something, that comes in real handy. So anyways, there's kind of my pros and cons between the two. So we're going to kind of play around with it a little bit and we're going to see. I'll show you where I kind of have some issues. I've got a couple little things I want to set up here on the table. And then I've got a wall that I built, and we're going to use it, and we're going to try that out as well. So let's give me a minute or two to get all this set up, and then we will do that. Okay, so this would be a good example, and I don't know when this would come into play, who knows. But I thought it was kind of a little bit of a good example of the advantage to having the magnetic feet versus having just the standard feet. And also being able to articulate this thing. Let's do this one first, okay? So let's say I got a dot on here and I want to get on here. Well, so I can get on there. Even if I got level, I'm limited to this little spot right here. I can't move this thing. So if I get to where I get my feet on here, now I have a problem. And not only that, it really doesn't want to stay. So trying to get on here would definitely be difficult. You can see that, right? So no magnetic feet or anything. You might get lucky and find a spot where you could get on there, but you're not going to turn it loose. If you do, it's going to hit the ground. So let's look at this one. So that one just grabbed that. And I tied these rebar together, so they may not be all that great. But now, I can put that in there, and if I need to, I can move this around like this. You see what I mean? This one is definitely more complicated, but this is why. So I can definitely, and I can slide it in or out. It's still pretty tight. There it goes. I guess I wasn't pulling on the right thing. Okay, so let me get my feet back up here again. So I got my feet on here. So I can do that, and I can pull it in. I got a lot more movement with this thing that way. And, even if I had to back up in here somewhere, I've got a lot of movement on this. So I think that is huge, being able to do that. Now, in this situation, it'd probably be better if those feet were just a little bit bigger in my mind. Maybe that's something they could work on. But, being able to, I'm almost level right there with just a little bit of tweaking. And I hope I went the right way. Now I'm pretty level right there. So, and there again, no matter where my gun's at, right? So I'd be able to stake it out. So for those reasons is why I really like this, depending on what you're doing. If I'm on, in my opinion, my personal opinion, if I was on flat level concrete, this thing would rock it out all day long. Dam deformation stuff this would really come in handy for that. For any kind of stake out like on your typical flat pad? Absolutely. When you start getting into something a little crazy where you can't get on top of it, in this case, you might think, well, I'll just use a prison pole. When you get a prison pole and you get up, and the higher you get, the worse it's going to be, right? When you on level and stuff. And we're actually going to set this up on this wall that I've got, and we're going to shoot a point at the ground, and we're going to go up 4 feet, and we're going to set this thing up, and we're going to stake that point out, and we're going to see just how close it really is. But I thought this was another really good example of the differences. Complicated, not complicated. I think both of them have their place. So, pretty cool, huh? And like I say, if that rebar's in the way or something, you could, if you didn't just pull everything apart, you could rotate that. But anyways, probably help if my rebar was tied a little tighter too, just saying. Probably should have put 2 ties on it instead of 1. You know where this rebar is from, right? This is rebars I've got in a box for 7 property corners, so I just tied them together. Anyways, give me a minute. Let me get my wall set up and all that good stuff, and we'll do that. And we'll stake out some points and see how all that works. We'll compare them. And by the way, this is a nodal prism, in case you're wondering. It's a Trimble traverse prism, but it's a nodal prism, which means that no matter how you tilt that thing, you're still in the center. So nodal prisms are very important for a lot of this stuff, depending on how you're looking. Okay, so what we got going on now, move the table out of the way. Got my wall that I built, threw it up here. And we are going to...
Now target. Target locked.
I guess I keep getting in front of the prism. I got a mark down here. So what I did is I moved this thing up as close as I could get it to this edge and then made a mark down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot that with this prism. We're going to shoot it. We're going to store that point. Then we're going to come up here and we're going to stake that point out. We're going to see how we do. And then we're going to repeat the process with the Atlas. So we're going to start with the Marksman and we'll see how close we are, okay? So what we want to do is we want to get this thing down here. I'm going to have to turn this prism around a little bit. Let's turn the laser on. And let's see here. Let me get it level. Okay, I'd say we're pretty tight right there. So let's measure. Okay. Make sure that is pointed right towards that gun. Store.
Observation stored.
Okay, so now then, we're on the point. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up here, and we're going to stake that point out. Okay, I'm off the mark a little bit there. Move over so you can see what I got going on. it's a little bit tough to get on that point and get level. Man, that's tough. I think those legs are moving on me a little bit. Oh, man. It's not sliding real good on top of my wall I got here. Man, oh man, oh man. My wall is definitely not very level. Mercy. Boy, it don't take much. Trying to get this as about as precise as I can. I want it to be. That's kind of a problem. It kind of moves a little bit when I remember I was talking about those legs, how they kind of flex a little bit. It probably what I needed to do is lower these legs down, because those legs being that high, it's flexing on me when I'm trying to do this. And it's making it very, very difficult to get this thing. Man, oh man, oh man. Okay, give me a minute. I'm gonna have to lower this down because that's just really creating a problem. Okay, I lowered this thing down. Let's see if that helps me any. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, this thing just walks all over the place with me. Having to slide it, it really makes this difficult. And my wall, putting pressure. Well, I tell you, I'm on it pretty dead burn close. Okay. Let's go to
Target locked.
stakeout, points, 100, enter, stakeout.
Stake point.
Okay. If I had to do anything, I would say I need to come in just a fuzz, like a thousandths or two, if anything. Left and right looks pretty good. So right there it's saying go out 100th, and it's saying go left 4 thousandths. So that if I go out 100th, that, well, let's see, is it 100? Yeah, it's right at 100th. So if I went back 1/8 of an inch, I'd be off the mark for sure. Okay, but I'd say it's within 1/8 of an inch from me shooting it down on the ground to coming up to here. And like I said, if anything, I could come in just a fuzz, just a smidgen, but it's pretty close to it. I'll tell you that. Okay, so that's the Marksman. Says go out 100th. We're pretty much on the mark, so it's within about 1/8 of an inch. That's pretty tight. I mean, I go back to the same thing I said before. I think if you're doing things, and definitely with this movement in these legs, you want to keep it as close to the ground, as flat to the ground, and as close as you can. Okay, so let's try this other one,
No target.
and let's see what we got. Okay, so first thing I need to do is get on this mark. So I'm gonna pull this back a little bit. Let's hit that crosshair. Oop, can't go that way. I'm up against the level. So I turn it that way a little bit. Just trying to get it level before I move it in there. I'll say this much, that line is extremely clean. It doesn't have the splash on it. Okay, so let's go.
Target locked. Stake point.
Okay, let's go to measure topo. Let's go to point 200. Enter. Store. Okay.
Observation stored.
Stake out. Points. 200. Stake out.
Stake point.
Okay. Okie doke. So now let's stake this out. Now let's see how close we get.
No target.
So.
Target locked. Go right. Stake point.
So get this level.
Stake point. Stake point.
There's level. Oh.
Stake point.
Let's see here. Get this level. I feel like every time I twist that level valve, looks like I could go that way, just a fuzz. Pretty close. What we got? Okay, so as you can see, that is 2 thousandths by, I'm gonna say 2 thousandths. We're gonna say 2 thousandths by 2 thousandths. Me shooting it down there and shooting it up here, 2 thousandths by 2 thousandths. So that ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. That's pretty tight. So both of these are pretty accurate. I mean, I'm not sure what you're looking for, but that's hitting it closer than they can build it, right? Okay, so hope that worked out for you guys. Hope this helps. Comparison between the two, the Atlas versus Marksman. Both great pieces of equipment. Best I can tell, both of them are extremely accurate. So, question is, which one do you need? I will say it was a lot quicker for me to get over that point with this one than it was that other one. That other one, I've had to fight with it a little bit to get over that point. But it's like I said, depends on if you're in challenging situations, this may be a better tool than that one. But if you're in typical situations, that one will work just fine for about anything you want to do. And I believe that's what it was built for. It was built for just typical situations, right? So, cool. So let's call it a day. Let's move on to other wonderful, more important things. So, guys, as always, like and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this helps out, kind of give you some direction on, if you're looking at purchasing one of these things. I'll put a link to each one of their websites in the notes on the video, and then you guys can choose which one you want and have one of them for yourself. So that prism is a nodal prism from Trimble, by the way. I think that prism's about, I want to say about $500, something like that. So anyways, guys, hope this helps. Take care. Love you guys. See you guys next video. I promise this year, more videos. I'm going to get her done. See you guys.